Relationships have enveloped our daily lives, even the lives of our ancestors that required them to find an adequate mate. A mate who can provide, whether it be food, strength, or good birthing hips. There was a need of survival to form a bigger network for protection. In modern times, this need of survival is non-existent. Currently, people can provide for themselves in every way possible. There's no urgency to finding an adequate partner. We can, for the most part, survive on our own. Then why is it that most, if not all of us, obsess over finding someone? And why is it that when we do find someone, they're never the one? Take the word obsession lightly. I do not mean that seeking out a partner is always on your daily list of tasks. I also do not mean that you believe a partner defines your value. However, in a world where we download multiple apps to swipe left or right, blush at a glance or gesture that might mean just a little bit more, or even use the question, do you have to replace the more direct, can I have your number? One cannot deny that it is in the back of our minds, in the very narrow space between when's the next exam and do I still have milk? Now let's take a look at the stages of dating. We have stage 1, strangers, maybe there's an attraction. Stage 2, we're just talking. Stage 3, friends but also kind of not. Stage 4, we do everything a relationship does. We're either in a situationship, we're friends with benefits, or we're exclusive. Stage 5, we're not talking anymore. One of us probably got ghosted. We mutually decided to end this or break up, or we had a terrible ending and breakup. I do not believe that this list was more definitive or shorter before the rise of the internet and social media. After all, dating and relationships are confusing and many find themselves in precarious situations because of it. However, I do want to say that dating in modern times has become less rewarding and more casual. Take for instance the slew of options available to us today. Not only can we use dating apps, we can also use social media platforms to find someone we're attracted to, totaling up to 3 avenues to find the best option in a sea of people, if you utilize life outside the digital world. Surely the opportunity to cover more ground must be a good thing, right? I agree. You definitely do get to meet more people, but more people, more problems. Because of this, you can fall victim to scams, liars, cheaters, and a dozen ill-intentioned people. This forces you to play the game, red flag or green flag, to narrow your list of potential prospects. The game, though helpful, should be unnecessary. Sadly, in this day and age, it is entirely necessary. Before tech and the evolution of social media, it involved more effort to find someone to date. You'd have to look outside the digital world. You needed to join extracurriculars, go out, and do anything to interact with others. It made dating hard, but in a good way. It forced us to put in more effort to find someone, and because making that connection was hard to find, we then put in more effort to sustain that relationship. Therefore, the more effort we put into someone, the more we wanted it to work out, allowing for the relationship to feel more rewarding once it did succeed. This does not mean that people wouldn't eventually end things. We are human after all, and incompatibilities do exist. However, it does mean that people weren't as quick to jump ship and truly did the most for their relationship. Why did we ever stop trying to work things out? I believe the instant gratification dating apps and social media brings makes it easier for people to leave. People aren't as fearful about never finding someone new that it is interesting or attracted to them. Additionally, this increases one's ego and creates a more non-committal society. The lack of effort and the eagerness to run away does not allow for people to learn the required lessons to grow, which in turn creates a cycle of more unsuccessful relationships. As a result of these unsuccessful relationships, people have garnered on social media to provide their advice on how to create a healthy, secure relationship. I want a considerate relationship, things my partner has done without me asking. If he wanted to, he would. Don't settle for the bare minimum. She divorced me because I left dishes by the sink. If you know about that last one, you're already one step ahead of everyone else. The problem with these videos, although helpful, is that the algorithm will never choose those that need the help. It'll always target people who already intend to better themselves or are in the process of it. That's why you always see people say, his For You page, not mine. Her For You page, not mine. It's not gonna get there. It's not gonna get there if they don't want it. That's another story. Anyways, these posts all have one thing in common, and it's the underlying emotional intelligence that comes with it. Finally, emotional intelligence, the one thing that if utilized properly and learned genuinely would allow for any relationship to be successful. Emotional intelligence is a skill, and just like any skill, it involves work. Some people can do it all on their own, the research, the journaling, the self-help videos and books, and overall finding the resources to help them be a better person. While others need a bit more help, such as therapy, and that's okay. What both have in common is the self-awareness to admit that they need to do better. Emotional intelligence is characterized by 4 parts: social awareness, self-awareness, self-management, and sociability. I figured the best way to demonstrate these skills in action would be through media. Let's begin with the most common form of media that makes everyone swoon: movies. More specifically, romance movies. Say Anything, the 1989 movie, is the best movie portrayal of emotional intelligence. I will go down with this ship. I can watch this movie time and time again and confidently say that this is what people crave. Like I mentioned before, emotional intelligence comes in 4 parts. And here are some in-movie examples both of these characters, Lloyd and Diane, get right. Social awareness is by far the most important, as it involves your ability to empathize with others. Lloyd demonstrates this by recognizing Diane's academic pressure and her values of honesty and family. He understands her situation and respects her decisions affected by it. Throughout the movie, he is able to read social cues to decide when to pursue and when to give space. While Diane is learning how she unknowingly pushed people away from getting to know her. This realization makes her get better at understanding how her actions, although unintentional, affected her ability to get to know others and vice versa. Self-awareness describes your ability to know how you feel and healthily verbalize it. Lloyd tackles this by being honest and openly communicating his feelings, future, and limitations, even going as far as acknowledging uncertainty of his future career to Diane's family. Diane values his honesty and realizes he is the opposite of her sheltered life. Therefore, she acknowledges where she needs to improve on and grow her self-awareness, all thanks to Lloyd. Self-management is the ability to regulate your emotions, behaviors, and thoughts. Both of these characters are surprisingly mature and capable despite their on-screen age. Diane is able to balance her academic lifestyle and family pressure with her new relationship. Lloyd is able to manage his emotions when faced with rejection. Diane communicates her doubts and fears, and Lloyd listens and reassures. No one raises their voice or tries to win their conversation. They hold themselves and each other accountable. This is by far the skill I noticed the most during this movie. To finish my passionate discourse of emotional intelligence in my favorite movie, we have our final boss, sociability. This basically is the way you manage your relationships and how well you socialize with others. This is important because it builds the necessary skills you need to talk with someone who has completely different ideas, opinions, thoughts than you without getting upset. It helps build the foundation of handling conflict, taking action, and feeling empathy. This movie is unlike any other high school stereotype that involves the hyper-popular girl and the misfit of a boy. Diane is actually not popular. She's simply there. She keeps her head down and focuses solely on her future. Therefore, people don't know enough to like or dislike her. Throughout the film, she is learning to be more sociable and build this skill thanks to Lloyd. While Lloyd already displayed great skill in relationship management, he is extremely well liked and would not consider himself in the category of popular or misfit. He is easy to get along with and is able to socially adapt with others from different social groups. Say Anything truly is an example of emotional intelligence and the realistic discourse most healthy relationships should take, minus the tax fraud, as it displays the equal initiative and reciprocal effort needed to maintain a relationship. The respectful dynamic is what most people yearn for today. They want someone considerate of them, someone who writes a love letter, someone who introduces them to their favorite people, and someone who goes outside with a boombox. Not because the boombox holder thinks their effort is deserving of a glance out the window and an immediate reunion, but because the boombox holder understands their relationship situation and need for reassurance and hope. Sure, boombox holder wants to get back together, but there's no pressure to get back together. That is what we're missing out on today. Everyone is fearful of rejection, of being vulnerable. Everyone wants to be a lover girl or a lover boy until it means admitting your own shortcomings. Everyone wants the fireworks, the meet-cute story, and the grand gesture. That's the problem. You first must understand yourself, what you're capable of, what both of your expectations are. Some people need grand gestures like the boombox, and some people are content with smaller gestures. The point is, you need the emotional intelligence to understand who you are, who they are, and who both of you will be together. The way romance is today, it makes this nearly impossible. The point of this is not to say social media and the creation of the internet has made it more difficult to pursue romance. because it's done the exact opposite. It's easier than ever to make new connections. Yet, I will say it has skewed our perception of romance and made sustaining these new connections a lot more difficult. Thankfully, the solution to this non-committal culture is easy: growing emotional intelligence. The hardest part is getting started and being able to admit we haven't been the best to them or to ourselves. Now, here's the abrupt end of my thoughts on modern day romance and the solution to how difficult it has become. Maybe this was all just an excuse to talk about, say anything. Who knows? In the end, I'm just like everyone else watching this, trying to understand the concept of romance and sharing our mental, physical space with someone else. It's hard, but we have to start somewhere, if it's something we want. I wanted to mention other forms of media such as interviews and series, but this became a lot longer than I intended, so that will be another post. Anyways, thank you for watching, thank you for reading, and thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye.